Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I hope you're all doing well today. I've got a love reading for you guys, and this is for someone who can't stop pining. So I'm going to draw some cards on where you're at right now, a few cards on how you could stop pining, and then just to gratify that urge, what the person you're pining for is thinking about you right now. So let's start off with some cards about where you're at. Okay, the Lovers. Yeah, I think you're fully in love, and I don't think that this pining is just a crush either. I think this is genuinely like you think you found the one, and I think that's why it's so intense. It's like maybe you've had crushes in the past, and it was like, oh, I'll think about them a little, fantasize a little, maybe look at their pictures or something, but it's whatever. No, I feel like this is different. This is like deep, where it's like to your core, it's like there's something that pains you about being apart from this person, and that's why you're pining so hard. So I think there could genuinely be some sort of energetic tie between you and this person, whether or not this is true love. It's either you've cast your spell on this person, maybe without even knowing it, or they've cast a spell on you, where there just happens to be this energetic tie where you can't get them out of your head. Alright, we have the Four of Wands. So I feel like you're really thinking about a future, about some sort of future celebration. You might be just imagining, let's not say it, but it does kind of look like a wedding, doesn't it? You might be thinking about some things like that, where your fantasies are just way out of hand, like you're going way too far ahead, and it's just really could be a little bit intense for you. But I think it's this card is also instructing you to prioritize building a strong foundation in your own life, right? Because you might have fantasies about, running away with this person and having a beautiful life together, but you might not even be at the point in your life where you're ready for that. Like, if you had to really ask yourself right now, if this person came and whisked you off your feet, would you be ready? Or is there still some training that needs to be done, some work that needs to be done, just to, like, get yourself a little bit more established in your career, get established financially, just building those strong foundations of, like, having a really good daily routine in your life, just being able to take care of yourself fully, because really that's the only state that you could get whisked off your feet in. Because if you get whisked off your feet when you're kind of don't really have everything figured out, that's when it could be like a little bit of an unhealthy relationship, right? Because you might end up being kind of codependent on this person, or it could be frustrating because you feel like the relationship is taking away from the progress that you want to make in your own individual life. So it's really just about putting down that foundation, and I think that's something that you're very focused on in your life right now, even if those fantasies sometimes plague your mind. Alright, we have the King of Swords. So I feel like you're very decisive. I think you know exactly what you need to be doing right now. I think you know exactly how you need to be spending your time, where you should be directing your energy, what you need to be doing to make those next steps in your career to get more stable. And I think it's just a matter of doing the work every day and making the right choices, right? Where in every moment you're presented with a choice. Am I going to better myself? Am I going to do something that is going to make myself more stable and make me feel more comfortable? Or am I going to kind of go in circles, spin my wheels, do things that I know are a little bit self-sabotaging? But I feel like you're in your King of Swords energy where you can make that strong decision of, this is not so good for me, or this is exactly what I need to be doing right now. And sometimes that's on the level of thought. I always talk about intuition. Trust your intuition. Intuition is very important, but thought, logos plays a big role as well, where, there could be a time where you feel intuitively guided to hit the dab pen and watch cartoons, but maybe your logos kicks in and you think, well, actually I have a project due on Friday, so you know what, I'm gonna actually work on that project. So it is about like balancing that within yourself too. Alright, let's draw some cards on how you could stop pining for this person that you were pining over. Okay, the Two of Cups. So this is about finding a divine union of masculine and feminine within yourself, right? The person who you're pining for is merely a symbol of this divine union that already exists inside yourself, right? So it's like you two, when you come together, you are symbols of this thing that you want to attain so badly, right? In the 3D world. But internally, psychically, that union is already present, whether or not there's a 3D material person there or not. You could just think about this in terms of love in general, right? Is that there are things that can symbolize love, like a wedding ring, that sort of thing, right? But when it comes to the actual essence of love, it exists inside you already. There's nothing in the physical world that needs to demonstrate that love is real. It exists on a different level than the material world. So similarly, this divine union, which is represented in the 3D world by two lovers, right? When it's inside you, it is just You could look at it, these different energies of like yin and yang, or maybe it has something to do with this kundalini that is coiled at the base of your spine, could be something worth looking into. But it's really just about connecting to that divine union inside of yourself and realizing you don't need anyone else. And maybe the fact that your mind is so preoccupied with this person is pointing you towards the fact that you should be attempting to reach this divine union within yourself, or recognizing the union that is already existing within you, right? So if you find yourself pining for this person, take that as a redirection to some sort of spiritual task that you might need to do, or some sort of mental task you might need to do relating to the union of opposites. And this could be something worth researching as well. Okay, the Fool. So this is about moving on from the past, not carrying anything with you, taking a leap of faith, going into the future blindly, and with a nice cheery face. You're just dancing along, right? So if you are finding yourself ruminating about any sort of things that might have happened in the past with this person, like you might be clinging to some memories, it's about releasing those, because those memories are not actually serving you. Even if they might make you feel some sort of dopamine rush because they made you feel really good in the moment, and just by clinging to those memories you're reigniting that good feeling in yourself, this is actually a form of self-sabotage, because you should be doing things in the present moment that are making you feel good, and then that way you're rewiring your brain to enjoy living your best life. So like I mentioned with the King of Swords energy here, it's like, it's understanding that if you do something in your life that is going to make you feel more successful, like you've made some progress, you're proud of yourself, you're feeling confident, that is much better long term to build that strong foundation, that habit going forwards, than just ruminating on the past, where, you know, it might feel good for a split second to think about it, but then it also makes you sad because you're not quite experiencing it right now, and then it's making you worse off in the long run, because all of that energy you're directing towards these memories is not actually being directed towards improving your current conditions right now. So this is really how you get stuck when it comes to rumination, is just not understanding that you don't need to carry all that with you, right? And, you know, it can be fun to go through your thoughts sometimes. You know, maybe you might want to write something like a memoir or an autobiography, and that's a better direction of that energy than just replaying the same moments in your head over and over, like one often does when they're pining. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. So that is this feeling of waiting for something to happen. And this figure here is just sitting there watching the grapevines, waiting for the grapes to grow. But it's like the grapes are not going to grow. It's like a watch pot never boils, right? You can't make the grapes grow faster by watching them. You need to take a step back and do something else. And, you know, if the grapes are a wonderful harvest this year, then you'll be delighted when they grow. And if the harvest is not so good, well, I guess it just didn't work out this time, right? But the feeling is you can't just sit there waiting for the grapes to grow. If you're pining over someone, just step back from it, okay? Clearly it's not the right time if you're in this mode of pining rather than actually being with them. But like I mentioned, is like focus on building that strong foundation in your life and working on projects or doing things that will better your day-to-day existence. You know, cleaning your room is a better use of your time than pining, of course. All right, and I dropped a card. Let me pick that up. All right, so we have the Knight of Swords, and then we have the Judgment card as well. So the Judgment card has the similar feeling to the Fool of all the figures on this card are naked, right? And they're being judged by this sort of higher power, where also the Fool is like barely carrying anything in his little bindle that he has over his shoulder. So it's this feeling of like not taking things from the past with you, of just being reborn in every moment as this nakedness, of this freshness, this fresh approach to life and the tasks in front of you. Instead of carrying on with any sorts of feelings of rumination or memories or feelings that are just sticking with you over time, just finding a way to cleanse yourself and just be really present in the moment. So you could do some actual sort of cleansing activity, you know, maybe burn some incense, take a hot shower, and this could help snap you out of some of those thoughts if you find yourself getting caught in any pattern of rumination. And with the Knight of Swords here, this is feeling like some sort of breakthrough or moving forward. I feel like you're ready to stop pining and just move on. Like you're ready to take things to the next level, where you're really devoting yourself to your own life experience rather than imagined fantasies of life with someone else, right? Feeling like your life is on hold, waiting to start until this person comes around. It's like, no, you can just charge ahead, just do your own thing. And if they come around, then good for them. If you pass them by, you'll end up finding someone who's on your level anyway, right? It's this feeling of just don't dwell, don't sit around, right? This is where, like, in the underworld, right? They have the footstools of forgetting or something like that, where if you sit down, you're gonna get stuck in the underworld forever. So never sit down. So that's this feeling of like, if you're pining, you're having some of these sad emotions maybe too. If you sit there, you will get stuck forever. You'll be one of those people who's drinking in bars, complaining about their relationship from 50 years ago or something like that. Like, you want to move on. Like, you understand that your life is rapidly ascending within every moment. Any moment that you stay focused, you are cultivating yourself so much faster. Like, it's like you're directing a beam of light onto an inner part of yourself that is just growing and growing and growing faster. And that's this feeling of just charging ahead. Anytime you are recognizing this divine union, this union of opposites, and then you're directing your energy towards some personal growth, you're just rapidly ascending. Like, you're just building this massive tower inside of yourself. Whereas any moment that you're sitting down in the underworld, you're just getting stuck, you're dwindling, nothing's happening. It's this kind of frozen feeling, this feeling like being stuck in a snow globe maybe, and it's just not helping you in any way, right? And it's not going to bring you any closer to this person either. All right, one more card on this pining feeling. Okay, the Sun. So this is again kind of a progression of the Judgment card as well, where it's like this baby who's being reborn and is naked under the sun, and then we also have the Fool here who's under the sun. So it's like this illuminating power of like seeing things clearly for what it is, and also being reborn into this innocence, and also having this sort of optimism, where sometimes where the pining gets real bad is because you're thinking about worst case scenarios that might not actually be true. Like, a common pining scenario that you might be thinking of is like, oh my gosh, they found someone else and they don't like me because I'm not good enough, and they're gonna find someone better, right? And you might get stuck in this kind of thought loop about like, what are they doing right now? Are they meeting someone else? But it's like, having some optimism, okay? If you actually think that this is some sort of true love situation, like you're actually meant to be, they're not going to find someone else, right? You are the best possible option, right? And that's again where this optimism is coming through. And we also have the sun shining behind this angelic figure on the Lovers card. And another theme that you can see running through is these red angel wings on this figure too. So there's this feeling of taking flight, of taking off, of like maybe soaring above some of those concerns you have that are really on this 3D level, of just caring a little bit too much about what this person is actually doing in their real life. You really don't need to worry about those sorts of things. Like, focus on yourself, what you're doing in this present moment, because you can't know. And just thinking about trying to deduce things, like, there's no way for you to know what this person is up to, what they're thinking, what they're doing right now. Like, just focus on yourself and shine the light where it really belongs. Like, don't shine the light into those dark places of your mind where you're having doubts about whether you're good enough or not. Shine the light onto the things you know you're good at, the things you know you need to do in order to take your life to the next level. And I know I just said you can't know what they're thinking about you, but I think we could hazard a few guesses. So let's pull some cards and see what this person you're pining over is thinking about you right now. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands here. So there is this feeling of a barrage of perhaps energetic attacks that maybe you've been sending their way. And, you know, I feel like you should not be doing this. Like, when you're thinking about someone, right, you're just sending all this energy towards them. And the thing is, if you're not a powerful enough wizard or magician, whatever, like, these attacks are going to bounce right back to you. And it doesn't even matter what this other person's power level is. It's just like there's some sort of karma associated with sending out too many thoughts towards someone that will cause them to bounce back to you. So it's like, the more that you pine about someone, even if it's in this positive way of just thinking, oh my gosh, they're so attractive, I like them so much, right? The thoughts are going to come right back to you, and they're going to come in the nature of those thoughts of like, well, they're too attractive for you, they're too good for you, they don't want you. So it's like, don't send out the barrage in the first place, because it's only going to come back twice as hard when it hits you. So just don't think about them. Honestly, it's so much better where, like, if you genuinely like this person, forget about them. And I know it's hard, but it's like, you've thought about them enough at this point. I think you've rehashed things enough. I think you've thought about all their best qualities. You've fantasized about every possible situation that you could encounter them in. So it's time to just move on, okay? Think about something else. Focus your attention on the work that you need to be doing, because this is a form of self-sabotage, is this pining, because, you know, it's almost like a form of procrastination where you could be thinking about other things too, right? Like, it's, you know, you think love is good because it's like this noble, gentle thing. You're cultivating these feelings of love towards someone. Like, love is good, right? But there's no difference than sitting there wallowing in self-hatred and self-pity than sitting there wallowing in these feelings of pining, right? both of them are not too productive for you. They're not good for you. And it's just not something you need to be doing. All right. And we have the Six of Wands coming out. So I feel like this person really sees you as the leader of a pack, like a thought leader, like just someone who's kind of at the forefront of things. I feel like this person looks to you for guidance in some ways. Like I think that they understand that you know a lot about certain things, even when it comes to relationships themselves. So I feel like this person does respect you as an authority in some way. But of course, there's some reason why you can't quite be together right now. And it's like I mentioned at the beginning of this reading, it's like maybe you just need to be a little bit more stable, maybe in both of your lives, in order for this relationship to come together in full. But I think this person really does respect you, and I think they really look up to you in a way where you might have been having thoughts about not feeling like you're good enough for this person. I feel like they're having them even tenfold, because I think they really recognize the things that you're doing in your life where maybe you don't actually know exactly what's going on in their life, right? Like I mentioned, you can't really know all these things, especially if you're stuck in pining. It's probably because you don't really know what they're up to. Whereas I feel like the tables are a little bit turned, where I feel like they do understand what you're doing. Like maybe you have some sort of public presence, or your work in general is just public, and I think they know you're doing really well and that you're really have some leadership abilities and that you're like ascending to the next level in some ways. All right, so we have the Seven of Cups. So there is this feeling of moving on. I feel like this person is moving on to new shores, where I feel like this person might have been holding on to something in the past that was maybe preventing them from being with you, or maybe that made them think of you in a different light, where maybe they had some sort of prejudice against people like you, where it could have been something about your gender, it could have had something to do with your age, your occupation, anything like that. Or maybe they had some previous hang-ups about romantic relationships, like this is how romantic relationships always go, this is what they look like, or this is what I want out of a romantic relationship. But I feel like they're starting to leave all those prejudices behind. Like similar to this Fool card, it's just like walking away from all that and wanting to start anew. I feel like this person is ready to cross over to new shores with you. And there is a strong feeling of a fresh start, that when you meet this person again, they're not going to be the same person you were pining for, and they're actually going to be a completely transformed version of themselves because they've left so much of this behind. So that's why it's important not to pine too much, right? Because in fact, you're misrepresenting them in your mind, and it's just not too healthy for so many reasons. And then when you get into the energetics of it, it's almost like you could be influencing them. Like I mentioned, you might have this spiritual connection with this person, or just some sort of energetic connection, where if you're thinking about them as the person that they were when you knew them previously, or when you first met, it could almost be holding them back in some ways, because it's also holding you back, because then you're thinking about yourself in that context too, but you're still the same person you were when you met them. But I think you've both changed a lot since then, and so that's why it's important not to have any restrictive thoughts, because this could just be interfering with the quality of both of your developments. All right, and we have the Four of Cups. So I feel like this person is not wanting to see something. There's something that they don't recognize about you fully. So like I mentioned, they might have been dropping some prejudices about you, but I feel like there's also something about you that they're not fully willing to acknowledge. And I feel like this is really at the crux of the situation. It's this thing that they're not willing to acknowledge about you is what's going to shift things into when you're ready to come back together and consummate this relationship, rather than have to be pining about them. Although if it doesn't work out, then like I mentioned, you're going to be ascending. You'll find someone who's better suited to you anyway. But obviously if you're pining about them, you want this to work out. So that's why I'm speaking in these terms. But it's like I mentioned, you have to have this really strong foundation ready before this person is able to come back to you and sweep you off your feet, and you can have this beautiful relationship that you're envisioning. So it's like you need to do that first, and then they will be able to recognize the message that is being sent to them about you. So like kind of the message could just be about like your caliber, or it could be about the quality of love that they feel towards you. Like maybe they would acknowledge that they have feelings towards you, but they wouldn't call it love, or they wouldn't say that you're their one true love just yet. But that is just because they're refusing to acknowledge this feeling, right? They're looking away from it. And also this is like this feeling of unenlightenment, right? Because the Buddha sat under the tree and reached enlightenment. So it's kind of like this person is at that stage in their journey before awakening to certain truths, right? So it's just about giving them the time and space to awaken to that truth without trying to interfere with them energetically. Not be doing any spiritual warfare on this person, please. Okay, because it's only gonna come back and bite you. Okay, and then building this strong foundation in yourself, using your discernment to understand the actions you need to take and the thoughts you need to cultivate in order to build this best version of yourself that will be most effective and perhaps guaranteed for a reconciliation between the two of you. But it's really your own work, right? It's an eternal distraction, right? It's always trying to look at something outside of yourself, right? And it's like you have these lower level challenges, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm not going to look to politicians or the news or social media for what my opinions should be. I don't need anyone but myself. I don't need a spiritual guru. I don't need some person to sell me a PDF or a course to tell me all these spiritual lessons. Like, I can learn it for myself from firsthand direct experience. But then, okay, this is where the love is like actually the highest possible challenge, because it's not just engaging you on the sense of logic, right? It's engaging you on this deep emotional level, right? Like sending a really deep emotional message, right? With some of the cup energy coming out here, right? But this is why it's so hard, is because it shakes you in a different way. Where, like I mentioned, you have been making good progress on not looking outside of yourself for any sort of external validation or anything, external instruction. You don't need anything to be doing your work, right? It's just you. But this love is the biggest challenge, because you do feel like you need it in your core on some level. You just want it so badly, or you feel like you need this love to be living your dream life. And this is why it's almost like it's like the carrot dangling at the end of the stick for you, but it's also a bit of a double bind in the sense where as long as you're thinking about this person and pining for them, it's like you can't make the progress in your life that you need to in order to actually be able to have this relationship. Yet at the same time, this vision of true love is the carrot at the end of the stick for you in order to be making this progress, because otherwise you might stay stuck because you think you have it all already. But it's like, no, you want the love too, so then you have to take a little bit more action. So like I mentioned, it's a bit of a double bind, right? This is where this union of opposites could come in. Being able to accept a paradox or be able to accept a mystery where you don't have to fully understand it on the level of mind, right? This is something that's operating on a little bit of a different level, but what you can do at the level of mind is decide what thoughts you're cultivating and what you're doing with your day-to-day actions. So maybe part of this pining could be you're getting really caught up in the paradox of it, of like, you really thought this was your true love and yet you're not together. Isn't that a bit of a paradox? And you might be running it through your head over and over, looking at all these different angles, but it's really just like the union of opposites. Accept the mystery, accept the paradox, and just do what you can right now. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you're interested in booking a custom reading, I'm doing pre-recorded 20-minute readings for only $25 until the end of February. So if you're interested in one of those, please shoot me an email. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.